So we'll start this off by figuring out our limits, the boundaries of things. We want to know how high it is, how far to the left things are, and how far to the bottom. So we're looking at lemons here. I want to know how far the very left lemon is on the left side, just so that we don't want things that are going outside of the canvas. We don't want things that are, we don't want to end up with something too small. I'm going to start with just a dark color. It doesn't really matter, something that we can kind of see, but I'm going to start with like a brownish tone that you can use burnt sienna, you can use burnt umber, you can use a little bit of black. It doesn't really matter right now, but you want to use plenty of water at this point, just so it can flow out of your brush like a pen. So ideally you have a brush that's got a sharp tip to it. Okay, so left side, something right there. I want there to be a good enough space at the top so it doesn't feel crammed or claustrophobic. If you have, your subject kind of very up top, up high, you got a lot of ground, it'll start to feel kind of claustrophobic. So I want to give it, almost think of it like sky. I want to give it sky space. So I'm going to think somewhere over here. So no higher than something like that. The very right side, the edge of the right side is going to be something right here. Bottom of the very closest one, the lowest point of something, I don't want it to exceed further from here. So these are kind of our boundaries, roughly speaking. Now we can think about the specific individual shapes. I'll start with the main one. We got a big piece of lemon in the middle. I want to think about its angle, left and right angle. We're still talking boundaries. So where are the left and right edges of that lemon? Where's the very top? Got a little angle curving downwards here, curving downwards here. Little angle like that. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I'm going to move on to others, because what if that's in the wrong place? What if there's things that aren't right? You don't know at this point. You got to move on quickly to the next kind of blockouts. So we got another lemon kind of immediately behind it. The edge is not too far away, something like right there. Kind of got a curve going on right up here. If you can always imagine it behind, like have this X-ray vision. So you see I'm drawing past the line a little bit, just so it needs to make sense where these two disappear. So it doesn't look too high or too low on one side and it doesn't match the other side. Whenever things are overlapping, think X-ray vision. Okay, this one right here, very left, top side, something that doesn't exceed up there. Bottom side, I know that it's higher than this lowest point, something right here. Kind of leveled with this one, but maybe a little lower. Okay, I know the edge is somewhere right there. They're just barely touching. So this one, the edge is right there. Corner, very bottom, somewhere right here. We got a little nub in the center there. Same with this guy. It's got a little, the part where the stem comes out. Reapply some paint. It's getting a little dry. A little water. So you see how little paint is being used and a lot of water. We got a big piece of leaf and stem. We got a curve up here. I want to think about, again, the boundaries of the leaves. The leaf, very left side, bottom point, top side up here. Okay, I'm going to connect that. Still, roughly, no detail, because you never know if you have to change all of this, nudge it to the left or right, or make something bigger. At this point, we don't know. Bottom side over here of this lemon, I want it to come down. I definitely want to avoid tangents, meaning I don't want the point of this leaf to lead exactly to the edge of that other lemon. I want to offset that a little bit. Otherwise, people will get a little confused. Just visually, people's eyes will get confused. What are you trying to say? Is that edge of the lemon stemming out from a leaf? No, they're overlapping. They're two separate objects. So you want to keep that in mind. This right here, boundaries. So once you get the left and right, it's very easy to get that corner. See, I'm not even drawing that much. I'm just connecting 2 points. Okay, here's the top side. So because I got the top and bottom, these corners are Very easy. Again, top side, bottom side. Maybe see this is a little further in. I'm going to move it out a little bit. Curve down. I know the bottom's going to be over here. Okay. So that's roughly it for the block out. Now you got to step back at this point and ask yourself, does this look right? Is there anything off? How's the spacing between things? Horizon line. Horizon line's going to be somewhere over here. Imagine it cutting through all the way so that, we're not going to use a ruler. There's no need. Just imagine it. Is it going to connect left and right horizon? We do see a little bit right here. I plan on blurring things in the back, so we keep it simple that way. Maybe this can come out a little more, this lemon. I'm going to define this leaf a little more. Okay, anything else I'm missing? Since I'm happy with the composition here. The stem right here. It's going to come out. The stem goes down, come down. I know it's not going to be further down than this, the bottom of this lemon, so I'm going to cut it off right here. Just make a little indication to yourself. Little indicators. Thickness right there. Okay. All of this will be blocked and covered over by your paint in the end. So this is only for your own ease of knowing where to paint later. This blocking out stage. Okay, a little tip right there. Got a little tip right here. A little stem right here. A little angle right there. Just gonna close the gaps here since I know I'm happy with it. This leaf, again, I'm getting a tangent by accident here, so I need to move it up. Now there's an offset between where the leaf connects to the stem and where the edge of that back lemon is. Once it's offset, it's more clear. Okay, and lastly, we got shadows. You can use the same color. You can use that black with maybe a little bit of, get a little burnt sienna or orange into it, and a little more water. This is still for your own viewing, for your own kind of guidance, but it'll help to just fill it in now. For acrylic paints and oil, you want to start with dark colors first and work your way up to lighter colors. Here's burnt sienna. Gives you a little bit of a warm tint to things. It's a very earthy, natural color. So black and burnt sienna. Mostly black. And at this point, use plenty of water. We want it to spread, but not drip. Be generous with your paint here. No water at all. When I leave it thick like that, what's going to happen is the light catches it because it's raised. So now this part becomes brighter than if I were to smooth this out, it'd be dark, a little darker than now. So I want to keep it raised. I'm not going to go blending that to be super smooth. Okay, and down here I'll just kind of let it trail off. I'm going to think about where that core shadow is on each lemon. and what that color is. I want to nail that color now. General rule of thumb is warm light, cool shadow. Cool light gives warm shadow. So this is a warm light. So shadows tend to be cool. So we have two different types of yellows. We have a warm yellow and a cool yellow. We're gonna use the cool one. That's lemon yellow. Yellow mid is the warm one. So we're gonna use lemon yellow for the darkest part. But then I'm gonna add something dark. If I add black, we're gonna get a green. I don't really want green. So instead I'm gonna add burnt umber or raw umber, whichever you have, just a brown. Let's get a little bit of that black and white in there. So black and white desaturates, meaning making it more gray. So this way we get kind of one step closer to realism. A little bit of black. The black makes it darker. I wasn't necessarily aiming for darker, but we want to desaturate. So white will balance that, adding some white back in. So the whole thing didn't become darker or brighter, it just became grayer. That's what we want. The brighter areas are warmer because the spotlight that's shining on it is a warm light. So as you move to the bright areas, we want to stop using this lemon yellow, even though we can still have some. We want to start using the yellow mid. When you make a new color that's supposed to be next to a previous color that you used, don't mix it into the whole pile. Put it off to the side so that you kind of have some backup here. If you needed to go back or you just needed to take from it, you know, it also takes less paint that way to get to that next color. Okay, so you see the difference of these two. I'm going to apply that towards the bottom here. Let's get a little extra burnt sienna. I got black in here, I got brown in here, so there's a lot of stuff. We need a brighter and stronger yellow. For the really bright areas, you tend to want to use a brush that's got harder bristles, just because it can kind of grab onto paint better, and also when it let it go, you have a little more control on it, and it doesn't appear too smooth, and you can see some areas are being transparent. There's a lot more white now. Lemon yellow, sorry, yellow mid and lemon yellow. Okay, very fresh. No water, plenty of paint. And let's give it a shot, something like this one. I think that's looking good. I turn my brush around to do the second one, just because when it's a lot of thick paint grabs onto the canvas very easily. So one stroke and all that paint's gonna come off on one side of the brush. If you do it again, then you'll be smudging this. It's gonna go empty right here, so you don't want that. And a lot of times there's gonna be a buildup of your paint at the base of the bristles here. Just kind of scrape that off on the side, reapply it to the tip to get a nice kind of big load of paint on the tip. Careful at that edge. I don't want a super sharp edge when something's further away. I'm gonna destroy it a little bit, lose that edge. It's gonna be kind of weird, right, at first? Do it. Don't be afraid to destroy that. Same with probably around here. Destroy it, destroy the edge. I don't want to go too warm, but I'm going to apply a lot more orange. Everything's still wet, so it's a good time to blend. We need to go back to the darks again later, but before we do that, let's finish up anything that we don't want to contaminate with black. I want highlights on here. This should be a step brighter than anything else that we've done. Okay, look how much paint is on my brush. One stroke and just leave it be. One stroke, leave it be. Right here. I want to get a slightly better blend. But you know I'm not going over my highlight. Not entirely, just on the side, just barely. Take another brush real quick. You can take a dry brush and kind of blend things this way. I'm going to leave that area as is. I think it looks fine. More fresh color up here. Leaves, greens. What is the darkest color on the green? It's actually like a brown. We can either mix red with it or orange with it. I mixed red and green earlier, and that's the result we get if it's 50-50. So that's a little too dark. I want something more like this. A little more orangey, kind of the nature of this piece. So I'm going to mix orange with my green. A teacher I had growing up told me how, for realism, leaves are never green, water is never blue. Just a rule of thumb. Of course, you're still going to get green leaves and occasionally blue water, but just for more interesting effect, try to avoid that typical tendency to make leaves super green or water super blue. In this case, I'm trying to go as ungreen as possible. This one back here is really brown, so a lot more orange. All right, so we want a light version of this and we want a light version of that. Since this one's already on my brush, I'm going to add white to just and I'm going to add white.
Breaking me down. love. I have no choice.